captain today is Marc-Andre ter Stegen. He's beginning his 10th season in charge of the Nets at Barca. How time flies. He has really made that spot his own, despite the fact we've seen some impressive goalkeeping displays as well from Iñaki Peña and Ander Astralaga during the pre-season trip to the United States. Time to look now at the starting lineup for AS Monaco. Philip Korn in goal, Abdul Karim, Vanderson, Kerrer, Zakaria Camara, Wabre, Minamino, Embolo, Bensegir and Bologun. We also have Ismail Jacobs, who was named late on, a late change to the starting lineup, perhaps just one of those AS Monaco players pulling up injured in the warm-up. It is a late change made by the coach for this one. It's as you were for Hansi Flick, who, as we say, has picked a very strong lineup today.
Yeah, we'll focus on Monaco's players a little later as we get into this game, but as we get a look at some of the players who are not in the starting 11, but did come back with, well, one medal or two. Look at this. The players with either gold or Euro gold around their necks.
It is dazzling, catching the sun. Those gold medals won in various competitions, from the European Championships to the Olympics. And these players very successful indeed over the summer. Now back in action for Barca.
Just missing Fermin in that picture. That's the only person. But that is a lot of, we would say, silverware, goldware for Barca.
Well, another bit of gold to add to the trophy cabinet for these decorated players. They're about to get a new season underway in La Liga. Before that, he's Juan Campo. The last pre-season test gets underway. It is Barca, of course, in their Blaugrana strip, going from left to right. AS Monaco in the all-white strip. As the ball immediately is played over, and Marc-Andre ter Stegen just waits for that to come back to him. First touch of the contest for him.
So yes, Duncan, this isn't a full 11 that we would normally see on a match day in La Liga, EA Sports, or a Clásico at least. This isn't, I would say, the first choice 11, but we're going to get a lot of information today about how this team wants to play. And how about that? Ter Stegen straight to Lewandowski, and they're off and running.
He plays it over to the left, where Rafinha tries to get the better of the defender. He does so. Will he bring that across? We could see an early goal in the camper, but it is missed at the back post. That delivery in to the path of Pau Victor. He just had to finish it off. If we're going to be charitable, it had a slight bounce before he reached him.
Like, this is the new Barca that we're excited to see. Rafinha getting that ball into a perfect position, and Pau Victor just skies it over the crossbar. We've seen him put those home a number of times, so I wouldn't get too worried. I think he's going to get another chance or two.
It was a great run from Rafinha, and now a run down the right-hand side from AS Monaco, keeping tabs on that. The Barca defenders very close in the middle. We'll see what kind of press they apply as well on AS Monaco. They go forward again with Rafinha. Rafinha has options available. He gets caught up. He might still wrestle this one away. Maybe a shot is on for Lewandowski. Holds that up. Barca just toying with AS Monaco on the edge of the area. It's Lewandowski again. Brief respite for the team from the French Principality. Trying to make his way down the left-hand side. Abdul Karim, that's swiftly cut out.
A lot's happening, Duncan, in the first few minutes of this game, and it has everything to do with the way Barca are trying to get forward. I can't stress enough how rare it is to see Ter Stegen seeking Lewandowski with the first pass in build-up. We just didn't see that last year, or really almost ever.
Well, it's a new string to the Barca bow. Ter Stegen able to go route one. That is the strategy at times. If there's plenty of traffic in the middle, you can send it long. Barca have those players who can pull the ball down. Lewandowski especially relied upon is such a big part of his game. And we've seen Rafinha already. He's made a couple of runs down the left-hand side, which have been very problematic for AS Monaco. Speaking of balls over the top, that one offside, not timed well by the visiting side.
You mentioned it, Rafinha down the left-hand side with what was the right choice, and sometimes so we're going to get a look at this. Of course, no VAR today, so no big deal either way. But sometimes he gets criticized for making the wrong decision, especially shooting when he should have passed. That's an example. Even though it didn't result in a goal, it was the right movement, the right decision, and all it missed was the finish.
Well, it's been won away again by Barca. And a little bit of space here for Pau Victor. Pau Victor tries that first-time pass. You can see what he was doing there. He's managed to establish a pretty good partnership so far this summer with Robert Lewandowski. See if there's more of that to come as that goes harmlessly across the face of goal. But he has linked up very well with Lewandowski. He's been very charitable, it must be said, this summer. He's set up Pau Victor constantly.
Listen, Duncan, Robert Lewandowski is not 26 anymore, and he needs somebody to play off of. He's 35 this year, or I should say he'll be 36 in just a couple of weeks.
As we see an opportunity, ball comes across the face of goal. Ter Stegen held his line. The defence tried to go in for it, as did the attackers, but it goes all the way out for a throw-in on that far flank.
Just to finish that thought, he isn't a player who needs to be a sole striker anymore, and it doesn't hurt to have someone to play next to. Pau Victor is young, he's spry, we've seen him pop up in positions that he wasn't expected to be in at times in this preseason, which is the mark of a guy who's got good instincts. He's in the right place at the right time. Maybe it could be a strike partnership at times.
The ball worked across the halfway line. Opportunity here for Barca to set something up as well. AS Monaco immediately start defending deep. Something we've seen already just a few minutes into this game. Koundé. Lovely turn here. And Rafinha on the ball again. You can see Lewandowski just waiting on the perimeter of the area. He'll make that run when he can. Of course, opportunity maybe today to see some of the players who've been away on international duty.
Marcelo had made a nice run. He's been my favorite of the youngsters, and for those who don't quite know yet which of the youngsters they want to latch onto, because there seem to be new ones every year, keep your eye on number 30. Here's also number 18.
Pau Victor squares up to the defender. Here's Koundé. Koundé tries the cross in. First Barca corner will be from the near side. Casado, there were calls for him to get more minutes last season after impressing in pre-season. Probably a little too early for him. Now is the time, and there's a position available for him with Oriol Romeo's departure from loan to Girona. And Christensen has been playing in that position, but there's an opportunity maybe for Casado. And it's going to be Rafinha with the corner. Left-footed delivery. Little nudge on. Nobody able to finish off for Barca as it's drilled away.
I know we have a lot to cover today and all season, Doug, and we're not going to get to everything now, but just a couple of thoughts on those last points. First of all, Rafinha's service this pre-season has been excellent, and that was something he lacked last year, was that consistent delivery. Almost all of his corner deliveries have gotten beyond the first wall and then some.
Put down on the left, it'll square up to the opposition defence. Not quite successful for Pau Victor, but he's switched over to that left-hand side. Jules Koundé makes a run into the box that's unsighted. There's some interesting movements from Barca so far, and AS Monaco have not been able to hold on to the ball for any significant amount of time. Another one hit towards the byline. This was the penalty spot. It was being set up, several players queuing up there for Barca. Marc Bernal maybe had called for that, said that one's mine. It was his teammate who lined up a shot.
He and Pablo Torre got mixed up. Neither of them took the chance, but a good recovery from Bernal to win the ball back. Talking about Marc Casado, it seems like we don't have any time to talk about anything, because here comes Rafinha again.
Rafinha again on that left-hand side, where he's wreaking havoc and causing plenty of problems for Kerrer. Koundé seems to have accepted life as the Barca fullback.
It's a good way to put it.
In an ideal world for him, he'd playing at centre-back, but there's more competition for those places than on the wing. Slightly a victim of his own success as well, because he's done such a good job there over on the right. This ball pulled back. It is sent out. It was Marc Casado who's got the furthest forward we've seen him in this opening spell.
Yeah, so this is a good time to talk about him. When he came in last year and Xavi gave him a chance, they put him at right back, and it just didn't work. When he was coming up in La Masia, he was an out-and-out number 6, and he played that role really well. Now, he's got a little bit of help this year because Marc Bernal has stayed back with him in the preseason and formed a double pivot, which gives him the flexibility to do what we just saw, move forward, get a chance in on goal.
It's another corner from Rafinha. This time he hits it long, drops in the box. He's not quite away just yet. There is delivery clear, but as ever, it's only as far as a Barca player. Marc Bernal's lost possession. And they try and go upfield again. Barca so good at winning the ball back. It's been fantastic to see so far the high intensity that they'll be hoping to carry over into the second half of this game, when things tend to break down a little bit.
That's true. Every single one of these preseason games has followed a very similar script. I don't know that it's going to be as similar this time, because a lot of big names are still waiting on the bench to come in, including Lamine Yamal and others.
Seeing some slight change of tact in the pre-season. At times it's been the younger players who've started and the older players who've come on and just offered something a little bit new, rather than it being the other way round. 45 minutes for the star team and then some unknowns. But Hansi Flick's been fairly true to his original strategy on the US tour. How about the recovery time as well for Barca? Got straight back from the US and it was right into training with barely having unpacked. They've been working out at the Ciutat Esportiva Joan Gamper since then. Conte. Moved across by Christensen. Man of many roles. He's added attacking to his the strings to his bow. Last season, he's got a couple of great goals, Andres Christensen.
Yeah, the one he scored at Montilivi against Girona was a worldie and then some. And you hope that he'll be able to contribute at times this season in an attacking sense, but you would prefer that he stays solid as one of the center backs that you can count on, because Barca have more than a few. Ronald Araujo will also get his chance, of course, when he's able to come back.
So the defence being organised by goalkeeper Philip Kuhn. Delivery in, it's headed out. That looks as if it was on course for another corner. So it will be another bit of defensive work required for AS Monaco.
So we've had Rafinha with the in-swingers from the near side, the right-hand side. We'll get Pablo Torre and see what his service is like from the far side now.
Pablo Torre, an interesting way back to Barcelona for him. Very impressive pre-season. The youngsters joined from Girona. In to the 6-yard box, header down, it's just wide. Best chance of the game so far. It's Inigo Martinez who rose highest. He couldn't quite guide that header inside the right post.
Yeah, good delivery again, and Inigo got enough on this and seemed he just headed it down. He knew exactly where he was, wasn't able to get on top of it as much. And here comes a little pressure from Barca.
At the back, here's Kuhn. Slip up from him as well. That's the turn. Does manage to get it across the halfway line. A couple of players were offside there, and it's good understanding in the defence from Barca. So calm, Marc-Andre ter Stegen with the ball at his feet. He's had a few mistakes from those kinds of positions in his 10-year tenure at Barca, but on the balance of things, absolutely fantastic to have a goalkeeper with such ability with the ball at his feet.
Yeah, especially if he's being asked to do what Hansi Flick has clearly asked him to do, which is help distribute in a way that leads more directly to goal-scoring opportunities. I think one thing that we haven't quite figured out yet, though, Duncan, is with all of this willpower to push forward, get numbers into the box, and attack relentlessly, how will they be able to recover and defend when the opponent hits them on the counter, which we've seen Monaco do a couple of times, and nearly sneak in?
That has been something we've seen a few times this pre-season. Barca, when they've had goals scored against them, they tended to be slightly against the run of play. That little touch from Casado is wayward.
You could make the argument that if you're playing a certain style, you want every goal that scored against you to be against the run of play.
Rafinha takes a look at the referee. There's no free kick given as the advantage was played. And it's back to Philippe Kuhn. A pre-season for Barca. Part of this new strategy that they have, it's not just playing against a couple of lowly local teams and then a trip far away. It's taking on top-class European teams, albeit in foreign climes. They took on Manchester City, played El Clasico in the US, and then AC Milan. Tough opponents. AS Monaco, no slouches either. These are the kind of games maybe that will get you ready for the season, whereas with other lower league opposition, maybe you can get that in scrimmages at the training ground.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, you know, speaking, I think, selfishly from a fan's perspective, it's fun to see those teams in person for people who otherwise might not get that opportunity. Barca have obviously gone to the US the last couple of years. Atletico de Madrid just went to Hong Kong and then played yesterday against Juventus in Sweden. So these teams are getting around and traveling because they know that they have fans all around the world, and Barca are no exception. In fact, I'd call them probably the world's most followed club.
Put one back once again by Barca, and here is the turn from Lewandowski. Looks for goal. It was a P-roller along the deck. Did have Pau Victor available for the pass, decided to go for it on the edge of the D.
He's clutching his wrist, it looks like, as he slipped when he took that shot. Let's hope that he's all right. He did have the option to dish this off to Pau Victor, but it's preseason. He wants to take his chance. And, oh, it didn't come on the fall. It came on the Zakaria cross-check.
So immediately holding his radial bone. Lewandowski back up. Test that one out, but although in theory has little bearing on what he does with the ball at his feet, if it is a problem with his wrist, does so much jostling with opposition players, handing them off and using them to battle against inside the area. You just hope that Lewandowski's okay. He keeps on glancing at that wrist.
You said it, Duncan. That's the last thing you need in your final friendly of the season. So let's keep our eye on his left arm, Lewandowski, as this game moves along.
I was thinking of slip-ups. We've seen several slip-ups from Philippe Kuhn as he's trying to distribute the ball upfield. Some of that has been because he's been wrong-footed and put into an awkward spot by the Football Club Barcelona players, who are pressing very high. They're winning the ball high up the pitch. A couple of good chances so far. Inigo Martinez's header wide. Lewandowski had that strike straight at the goalkeeper, and Pau Victor as well, with an effort at the back post. He couldn't quite reach. Here's Jules Koundé. So we'll moved about by Barca at the back. And everyone seems to have their favourite of the youngsters who's come through this summer. We're unashamedly fans of Marc Casado for what he's done in a position where Barca needs some cover. There have been other couleurs who have sung the praises of Marc Bernal and Pau Victor as well, of course, taking some plaudits for his efforts against Manchester City and Real Madrid.
Well, every preseason there seem to be one or two youngsters that break through and then get their chance with the first team.
Below, looking for Lewandowski, doesn't quite come to it.
And for this preseason, we've seen Casado, Bernal, and Pau Victor as the main three. I think Bernal and Casado have been aided by each other, helping them out in support in the midfield. Last season, it was all about Fermin, and I know we haven't seen him in the preseason for obvious reasons, but he's still my guy. I mean, he is the #1 midfielder for me, for Barca, that should be playing every single game.
Roll through. Pau Victor's first touch is heavy as he tried to control. Finally, AS Monaco break out into the Barca half. It looks as if the Blaugrana have this covered, though. Paucity in numbers going forward for AS Monaco. They're very slow getting across the halfway line without the ball. Probably because they know soon enough they might have to be running back, and pretty quickly at that, if Rafinha's showing thus far is anything to go by.
And I know, Duncan, that some people are probably screaming at their screens right now, wherever they may be watching around the world, saying, what about Pedri? What about Gavi? What about Frankie? What about Gundogan? All respect to all of those players as Monaco try to break.
There will be a run from the right-hand side, trying to lob Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Very optimistic on that right-hand side. Ter Stegen just watches it float over the crossbar, much like the arrow that was shot before the Olympics ceremony. Very nearly cleared.
Look at this, we're coming right back the other way with Pau Victor.
Pau Victor's gone inside, he's made some space for himself as well. We've seen him shoot left-footed during this pre-season in that kind of position. And you can see Lewandowski giving him some instructions. Play that one diagonally, that's where I want it.
I mean, I know we're on the Barca 1 feed today in terms of who's pulling the strings and pushing the buttons to switch from replay to live action, but the international world feed this year is going to have to learn with Barca that they better get back to the action quickly.
Barca just like that, broken forward. Pau Victor, he's playing on the right-hand side today. He was a little bit less prominent in that role against AC Milan a week or so ago. He's already had a few good looks at the ball. They're both with it at his feet and trying to reach that delivery in from Rafinha on the far side. Ter Stegen. There's been breakneck speed in this game so far.
It was a crunching tackle.
And takes down Pablo Torre.
Lamine Camara just toppled right over the top of him.
Appears to be okay. And it appears as if Lewandowski's okay as well. It's been a while since he last had a look at his wrist. Conte and Casado.
This is why Casado, for me, has been one of the breakout youngsters. He's always assessing first what's in front of him, but knows how much time he has, and then ends up making the right decision in the end.
Napped away just before it could reach Pablo Torre. It will be Ter Stegen who grabs that on the edge of his area. Oh, lovely bit of footwork to dummy the oncoming attacker, who didn't seem to press him too hard. He seemed to pretty much resign to his fate. The preseason showing, as we said, from the other goalkeepers on the books at Barca. You'd have to wonder if there's maybe going to be a loan move for one of those. Astrolaga will likely play for the B team, Barca Athletic. A great showing in the penalty shootout against Manchester City. Whilst Iñaki Peña, it's maybe now or never for Iñaki Peña in terms of establishing a role in goal for Barca. Did have that opportunity with Ter Stegen's injury last season.
Well, I mean, when you're playing behind the captain.
Maxing a cross in here from AS Monaco. Poor delivery, but they get a second bite at this. Here's Ben Seguir. And Monaco will keep possession. It's been the longest spell they've had Ben Seguir shuffling towards Kunde. Right-footed shot, it's way off target. Flies behind out of what was once the running track.
And we're going to get a replay here of Zakaria sending this through the rugby goalposts, if you will. But as soon as that ball went out of play, Ter Stegen was asking and waiting for the next one. Brought it right back in.
So over to the far side for Barca. Much of their good work has come. Rafinha in particular, when he's been released by a long ball, has done some interesting stuff. So we are now deep into the first half. There's a slight delay to kick off in this one, not by any significant amount, and Barca pretty much used to that after the pre-season weather troubles they experienced.
Yeah, don't remind me, Duncan, please. I'm ready for games to start on time and be played on time again. La Liga is just 3 days away. Barca's La Liga is 6 days away, I guess. Count to Saturday.
It will be a Saturday night fixture at Mestalla, the most historic stadium in all of the Primera División. And I suppose they have
Says
mixed results.
No? You say the most historic?
Yep, has the most history. It is the oldest stadium. With Sporting Gijón down in the Segunda División, they have an older stadium, of course, than Mestalla. As the ball rolls through, it's going to be run onto, and that challenge.
Offside.
Well, we will see from the replay if there was a foul involved on Minamino, but it matters little. The flag was up on the far side. We talk about the historic stadiums. We're hoping that renovation of Spotify Camp Nou sees it open before the end of the upcoming campaign. If not, Barca will be playing here at the Olympic Stadium for a second consecutive season on a full-time basis. Right through the middle. Now Rafinha, he's been the man who's made things happen on the left-hand side, but so often we've seen him playing on the right, causing just as much damage to opposition sides. Not so far in this game. He might swap at some point if we see some changes at half-time.
Christensen was the one who made that offside happen when Minamino snuck in behind, and he does seem to be making all of the right plays. He looks so comfortable setting the back line of Barca's defense.
Back into the AS Monaco defense, and we see again whether this is Hansi Flick instruction or is just the energy that Barca have, that they are pressing high and making Monaco commit mistakes. We'll try and win the second ball here. It has to be slid back into the defence by Camara. Ben Seguir.
Make no mistake, just like the games against City, Madrid, Milan, and now this one, these are all potential Champions League matchups this year. Except for Madrid, which would have to come later, of course. Can't happen in the group stage, but you get my point.
Well, you would not rule out Real Madrid going far in the Champions League competition. They've won more than any other side, but there is a revamped Champions League format this season. Barca will be part of it. A Champions League will be something they're gunning for this season after some difficult years in that competition.
I know people are risk-averse when it comes to change, but I love the new format of the Champions League, particularly for one reason, which is that no team can jump from one competition to another at the turn of the calendar year. We would see teams finish third in their group and then go to the Europa League and become the instant favorites to win it, I could cough and then say Atletico de Madrid or Sevilla, but, you know, we'll be kind. I just want the team to finish the competition that they started in.
That's led to Jules Koundé. First time delivery from him. Maybe just had one eye on putting that underneath the crossbar, Jules Koundé. But it does fly over and is out for a goal kick.
You know, as far as the 2 extra games are concerned, that is a point that you could argue just for the players' mental and physical health to allow them to rest a bit. I get that point. But the format itself gives you plenty of incentive to finish in the top 8 if you're Barca, or if you're a middling team to finish 24th or better.
Monaco, as ever, just stop on the edge of the final third. They don't seem entirely confident going forward, and they've been caught out a few times with Barca winning the ball back. That's happened again here. Now brought upfield by Pau Victor. And it's a good pass, brings it down. Maybe Lewandowski wasn't the intended target there, but he appeared on the scene and couldn't quite bring that under control.
Hard to tell. It looked like Pablo Torre almost got in his way.
A little back heel, and here's Monaco just trying to get some breathing space. We've been all over them so far this evening. Monaco trying to take off down the left. It's Ben Seguir. Sliding intervention there from Inigo Martinez. Take no prisoners style from him.
Is it time to get a drink?
Well,
mind
cheers
if I do.
To anybody who is watching. So these players will take on some fluids. That will be the case for at least the games that take place in August, which will have temperatures in the high 20s wherever Barca are. And it's always fascinating to watch the coaches and the players during the cooling break. Some coaches just let the players do their own thing. Others gather them in a huddle, because this can be a tactical change as well, an opportunity, almost a timeout to give a few orders to the players.
Well, you talk about the heat factor, Duncan, and as it looks like Hansi is getting ready for his little halftime speech. This is part of the reason why La Liga is playing match day 1 on 5 separate days, with no game starting earlier than 7 o'clock, or 7 o'clock local time. It's because it's just too hot, and we have to take care of these players a little bit. You can see even now we've hit 8:30, and it's still, let's call it sticky outside.
Well, suddenly we break into September, and then seemingly it's okay to play the games early on. There are a few games that teams won't be looking forward to down south in Seville on a Sunday afternoon, which recently, in previous seasons, although they've been scheduled for that time, there's some last-minute movements as well.
Yeah, but don't you want to be here? Look at that, man. Look at that beautiful city.
The tower of the mountain of Tibidabo behind the stadium in the top of your screens. This up on another mountain, the Montjuic Jewish mountain, the old Olympic stadium with the Palau Sant Jordi near as well, a full panoramic view of the city.
Yeah, well, I was getting inspired coming up here today, Duncan, because we just finished 2.5 weeks of the Olympics in Paris, and coming to this area of Barcelona, which was constructed for that purpose in 1992, seeing all of the different pitches, not just football pitches. I saw the area where they ran where they would do some of the track and field practice. You have the field hockey pitch that's right next to here at Montjuic. You've got the baseball stadium that, I remember one of the first days I ever came here, I somehow found a baseball game, and my girlfriend looked at me and said, "You're the only American who could ever come to Barcelona and actually find a baseball game." It's because they do it all here.
Well, it can't be understated, the Olympic legacy at the games left behind here in the Catalan capital. It is Renowned the games which opened Barca up to the sea. All of the beaches were previously just a port, and that was transformed in 1992. New influx of tourism, of course. Barcelona's success is about a decade on from that. Didn't do any harm either to the city's profile. It's now one of the holiday destinations, and of course, those who come along, if Barca are playing, the tickets are something they want to get their hands on.
Well, and you said the tourism is rabid, and you're right. And sometimes there's some negative talk, negative connotation about there being too much tourism. Just be respectful when you come here. That's all it takes. Yeah, if people want to come and see this beautiful city, you just have to be the right kind of tourist. Just come and respect the place that you're coming to.
Well, at the moment, it's been almost a fearful showing from AS Monaco on their visit to the Olympic Stadium. Haven't got forward too much. A couple of balls across the face of goal have been just about the most of the problems they've provided for the Barca defence. We see a run into the box again. Rafinha tries to bring that across. It was a couple of paces ahead on the left. It was actually a burst through from Alejandro Balde. Good to see him back. He returned in pre-season after 6 months out to play against Manchester City. So good to see Alejandro Balde back, and it solves a few problems on that wing as well.
Well, we've been hitting so much on all of the positions that Barca have been trying to fill, and it seems like for the last couple of years, the lateral defenders have been the toughest position to really stamp out permanently. Balde seems like the proper answer on the left-hand side. Joao Cancelo, of course, goes back to Manchester City after his loan spell. Right back appears to be Jules Koundé for the moment, which I think we can all agree is a fine compromise between the club and the player. But that's still up for grabs. Balde's position is not guaranteed. He's got to play up to the position that he played when they won the league 2 years ago.
Yes, Monaco maybe will slide this pass through. Marc-Andre ter Stegen is quick onto the scene, gets enough on that to hold it up as it's cleared away from the near post. Was that Inigo Martinez who hooked that away? But it was delivered into looked like the knees of Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Was able to take enough sting out of that ball for his defence to cover for him.
Did you just do the wave?
Well, there is one going up around the Olympic Stadium.
I asked you during the preseason if you were a pro or con, or I should say anti or pro wave guy. You seem to be pro wave.
Well, I'm an understanding person who listens to what you like, Spence. And as you seemed so vehement that you wanted this wave going, even when it was just two of us watching the game. I thought that would be my little pre-season concession for you. No concessions so far from Barca. They've been playing very intensely in the first half, and they'll go forward again, despite the fact it looks as if Lewandowski has been brought down. Ball slid through. Maybe offside flag goes up. It does. Ball goes into net. Goal won't stand. More concern about the condition of Lewandowski on that. Well, he's been picked back up to his feet, or maybe it was Pau Torre. He's
back to his feet. He's getting beat up. We're pretty much right in line with this right here, and it did look like Rafinha was just half a hair on his head offside, but still like to see the tidy finish.
Can't fault that finish from him. It was indeed Lewandowski who was knocked over. And look, he's got a bandage that's been put on his wrist during the cooling break. It's obviously giving him some trouble, and the way he was holding it doesn't rule out maybe it's dislocated or something of that ilk.
No, please no.
It's one of those things you don't think that a wrist injury would be of much consequence to a striker, but Lewandowski, very corpulent player, he'll use his body. He's constantly jostling with opposition players as well. Some of the proponents of the dark arts, maybe when you get up to playing against Getafe, might give that a little squeeze on the corners.
I like how you just go straight for Getafe.
Well, one of the more ill-tempered opponents that we've seen Barca come up against in recent years.
We only have to go back to match day 1 of last year, that 0-0 that nobody wanted to see. When do they play Getafe this year? Got it circled on my calendar.
Well, these kinds of games do come up pretty quickly.
Here at Montjuic, September the 25th. It's match day 7.
A red letter day for some of these players. Some red mist might fall as well. There's no love lost between the two sides, especially with Pepe Bordalas back in charge at Los Azulones, taking over for a second full season of his second tenure. Here's Lewandowski. Well, Lewandowski wasn't looking to break into a run there. He was looking to hold that up, and he knew Pau Victor was behind him as well.
Yep, absolutely.
So Barca continue in possession. They have been the dominant side in this Joan Gamper Trophy game. Not too far away from half-time now.
Nicely played. Again, Pau Victor just always going to the right spot.
Lewandowski was making a run through the middle. He's actually a good decoy there. Although he held out his hands to say, pass it to me, he was actually doing a good job distracting when the pass went towards Marc Casado.
It's a learning point for all young players. When you see space, that usually is a good sign for you to go to that space. If there's open areas for you to occupy, you're probably going to find yourself open in a position to have a second to make a decision.
Well, some of these players, well, it's not a disaster if they're running into the same positions as Robert Lewandowski, because they might not play alongside him frequently, but they're making the same runs as a world-class striker. It's no bad thing in terms of their instincts. Looking for a ball in, maybe, and Seguir. Now back onto the edge of the centre circle. Here's Salisu. Returns it to Kered. But again, here's Monaco being forced back. It's not been an easy first half for them. They can perhaps consider themselves lucky not to have been a couple of goals behind by now in terms of clear chances. Minamino releases to the left. There is a bit of space for Ben Seguir. And that's played into danger. Again, a good block. Marc-André ter Stegen's gone down, and of course, the defence try and cover. And the move breaks down for AS Monaco. They have to reset on the edge of the area. Right, this ball brought across low. No finish there because Inigo Martinez got down well to make the clearance.
A little bit of sustained pressure from Monaco. Barca have to pack in.
And that was an attacking foul. And not too far away from the half-time break. This game did have just a slight delay to its start. By 5 minutes or so. We do have 4 minutes to go, plus whatever is added on of stoppage time. Have to wonder, and we'll find out shortly enough, but what kind of strategy will Hansi Flick go for at half-time? He'll want to bring on some of the more popular, established first-team players to try and get, well, some applause from the fans, at least the likes of Lamine Yamal, Ilkay Gundogan, to come on.
Yeah, if I'm Hansi Flick, which obviously I am not, I'm thinking about putting those players on after the start of the second half.
We'll pull back. There's a bit of space here, just one touch to control. Little dummy sold. Reluctant to pull the trigger inside the area, so the move breaks down again.
Yeah, it's just that. I think, go ahead, have a go. I know that it's Pablo Torre's weaker left foot, but it's the preseason. Nobody's going to chastise you for making that decision, having a shot.
So another foul by Inigo Martinez. A little bit awkwardly on the AS Monaco player. We'll keep this one going apace. Not too many pauses in proceedings. That will mean not too much time added on of stoppage time at the end of the first half. Just had that cooling break. That was the only pause of note. At the back. Long delivery over to the left from AS Monaco. Try as they might, there's not been anything really distinctive about them besides that run down the left-hand side we've seen frequently from Ben Seguir trying to take on Jules Koundé. Besides that, little identity on display from the League One side. Now Victor, early ball in, solid header out.
Oh!
And Casado a little bit over-exuberant there.
Oh, good idea from Pau Victor. Just had to get it over the last line of defense, and that's a pretty tactical foul from Marc Casado that on another day would probably see him booked, but since it's the preseason, we'll let it slide. Good tactical foul.
I brought down Lamine Camara, who was going to be helped back up to his feet, but he's struggling from a thigh problem. Might be time to send the physios on. There are options available on the bench for Adel Hutter. String coach is trying to take AS Monaco one step further. An AS Monaco side who finished second last season. PSG, of course, walking wounded with the departure of several high-profile players in recent seasons. Maybe not the force they once were, but do still hold the power in Ligue 1.
Well, they're the champions until proven otherwise, and they have been for the most part for the last decade. As we get a look at Victor Roque, Ronald Araujo, I saw Frankie, I see Ansu, we've got Gavi, we've got Eric, Dani Olmo, that's a who's who. But this season in the French League might look a lot different. There might be a nice race for the first time in some time there. We did have Lille 2 years ago, but now that league's getting pretty strong. Traditionally, it hasn't been.
Well, AS Monaco will be battling on three fronts: the French League, of course, the Cup competition, and the Champions League.
And we know, or if you don't, the Cup competition in France includes the nations from French Polynesia, many of whom have to make a long, long journey. Not too dissimilar from the surfing competition in the Olympics this year. It took place in Tahiti.
Marc Bernal.
I know they offered you a chance to go to Tahiti to report on that, and you politely declined.
I am an awful surfer, so but team who are riding the wave at the moment is Football Club Barcelona, trying to get into the new season off the back of a win, but has been a very successful pre-season in terms of results against some of the biggest sides in Europe. Here's Pau Victor. He's slid over to the right. It will be Casado who's dropped over to that right flank. Now Pau Victor. A little bit of interchange in positions now from Barca coming towards the precipice of the first half. Lewandowski's waiting to make his move. It just takes a little drop of the shoulder to send the two centre-backs into a panic. Inigo Martinez.
Nobody talked to him. Nobody told Pablo Torre that someone was coming.
We are into stoppage time at the end of the first half.
The thing that Barca lacked towards the end of this half was that extra runner, which they were giving in the first 15 minutes of this game.
Now Koundé maybe got off the worst of that exchange. He just went underneath the opposition player, what's known in Spain as making the bed. Went down underneath Jacobs, and looks like the AS Monaco player fell on him. Koundé okay to continue. For however long the first half lasts, because we are into stoppage time. So we get to the break, and at the interval, it is still goalless between Football Club Barcelona and AS Monaco. Second half to come here on Barca 1. Let's get that second half started with Marc Bernal taking the kickoff.
Again, it's Bernal playing further back in what is less of a double pivot in attack and more of Marc Casado playing alongside Gundogan in the more attacking midfield.
It is Andres Christensen who has been withdrawn for the second half by the looks of things. It's the only change in the defence, brings Sergio Dominguez into partner Íñigo Martínez.
Something just happened to Florian Balogun. It couldn't have taken that long. I think he took a ball to the face. Yep. Ow.
Just to the face, right in the temple, one which will
all right,
shake your equilibrium.
So I'm just going to go ahead and say this. Christian Pulisic took a shot to the face against Milan. Now Balogun. What does Barca have against America? Your silence speaks volumes.
Well, from Barcelona, maybe feeling aggrieved by the weather on the US tour, which delayed their game somewhat on 2 occasions. There's the turn from Ilkay Gundogan, flash onto the field of play. Joined up with Barca after that US sojourn, Ilkay Gundogan. And those players get a little bit of extended time off following Euro 2024. With Germany eliminated by Spain on Spain's route to the trophy. A foul there on Ilkay Gundogan. Just had good news. Robert Lewandowski back out for the second half. The bad news is that bandage he's got on his arm. We hope he's okay for the game against Valencia, which will be a physical one.
We're seeing a lot of physicality in the midfield against a very strong Monaco side.
Here is Koundé on the right. Both coaches, Hutter and Hansi Flick, motionless on the edge of their technical areas. The ball drops inside the area, no chance for Barca to finish off. But several good opportunities in the first half spent. Maybe Íñigo Martínez is the best of the bunch.
Yeah, well, it's hard to say how this defensive back line is going to look all season, especially at the beginning of it. So, Pau Cubarsí, Andres Christensen, Íñigo Martínez, they're likely to be the main rotation. But with as many competitions as Barca play in, with those 3 options and as many games that come, you might think one of them goes down alongside Araujo. You're going to need somebody else to come in and pick up the slack.
Over to the right-hand side, it goes astray, out of play. Barca on the defensive here. Balde is tracking back. A player slips up for AS Monaco. It is released over on the right-hand side. Those 1-2s on the edge of the box. AS Monaco had a player down who has got back up subsequently. Tipped over the top. That is a very poor ball, and Marc-André ter Stegen just leaves it for the opposition defence. However, offside call anyway.
Mbolo has shown signs, and I've enjoyed what I've seen from him over the years. He played for Borussia Mönchengladbach in... Oh, look out.
Oh, the ball's been won back, and there is the opening goal. Barca have conceded in the Gamper. Opportunistic stuff from AS Monaco. Frustration there for the Barca back line. It seemed as if there was no danger. Then it was a burst through the centre. It might be Balogun who has scored. It was maybe Lamine Camara as well. Those were the two candidates, the players who had pushed forward. It looked fairly relaxed defensively for Barca. That interception just caught them napping as he was looking across the other shoulder. There's the finish. AS Monaco take the lead against Barca.
Well, this is a sport that can give and take away very quickly, and Marc Bernal had a really nice stint in the US, but somebody needs to give him a shout because he looked over his shoulder, he just looked the wrong way. That's a position where you've got to know where everybody is at all times, and it's a difficult little run that Barca are now up against here in the second half to try and capture yet another Gamper.
Barca had the momentum in their favour, but early on in the second half, they find themselves behind. And once again this pre-season, it's an avoidable goal.
Yeah, I was going to mention this in the first half and say that whenever Barca get back defensively and get set, this goes for last year as well under Xavi, they never really seemed to have too many breakdowns in defense to give up goals that could have been avoided. It comes in the moments when you're not expecting it, whether it's on the counter-attack, which at times you can understand, or moments like that, which are entirely avoidable.
Another one played across the halfway line. The offside flag was in danger of being raised against Balogun. Camara gets the goal for AS Monaco, who put themselves out in front in the Gamper Trophy game. Back with Sergio Dominguez. Ter Stegen, he's got options available to him this time around. Plays it through the centre. It's still not the greatest of distributions. Just a brief pause in play. Barca have been highly successful in their trophy game in the seasons past. Monaco side, a little bit of history for them. They celebrate their 100th anniversary in just a couple of weeks' time. They've made some big moves over the summer with the departure of Wissam Ben Yedder. That's freed up the wage bill and brought in some funds for the coffers. They have invested 60.75 million euros in signings. The likes of Zakaria, Fofana, Golovin and Embolo. As Barca have the ball on the left with Jules Koundé. Koundé has his opportunity to attack, shoots to the back post. It was being set up for a strike. Lewandowski was waiting to pull the trigger. And that one, he was just waiting for it to drop and it was taken away from him. The first chance we've seen of note for Barca in the second half of Balde's run down the left-hand side. That delicate clipped ball.
Yeah, credit to Monaco. They're playing good football right now, and they've really been doing so throughout this game. The onus is on Barca to find a way through.
On the right. Have already made a couple of changes. We'll likely see on the hour mark Hansi Flick reshuffle the pack again.
You would be surprised if Lamine Yamal and Ferran Torres were on the match day sheet, listed, named on the bench. You'd be surprised if they didn't come in.
Well, this is a game, something of a showcase for them as well. Also, in the case of Lamine Yamal in particular, it's an opportunity to get in tune with his teammates, having not been on the pre-season tour. Inigo Martinez. Ilkay Gundogan looking for the short pass. It's back to Sergio Dominguez. And that's a nice ball into the box. Opportunity to bring that back. It came too hard and too fast for Robert Lewandowski, right at his feet. Problem for him, he couldn't line up an effort.
I'd like to see a replay of that to see exactly where that bounced.
Lifts it over to the right-hand side, and it's an attacking foul by Robert Lewandowski. His physicality.
That initial slingshot release pass from Koundé waited perfectly for Casado. Lewandowski is frustrated that he was just called for a foul, but that was the first real threat of danger. Here's another look at the goal that Barca can see. Look, Marc Bernal's looking everywhere, and he just doesn't see Kamara.
It just snuck off his foot as Nigan Martinez made the pass. Bernal was checking over his right shoulder, appearing on the other side. Was Kamara. Just switched off there. And Marc Bernal. Lifted up just past Jules Koundé, who does well to stretch a leg out and win the ball back.
We'll say, Duncan, that... hold on just a moment. Let's see what Monaco can do here.
Slip the ball down that left channel. There's the cutback. Nothing becomes of that as Sergio Dominguez collects. On the left.
Marc Bernal making that mistake. Look, we can go back to the replay and we can slow that down and go frame by frame and look at where his line of vision was.
As the ball comes into the box, it's another dangerous chance. Hint of offside. Maybe the flag will be raised. Well, the goal has been given. Marc-Andre ter Stegen complaining to the referee's assistant. It did look as if it was just slightly off Mbola, one of the new summer signings. And it was chipped over ter Stegen. So with no VAR to right the wrongs, if indeed there was a mistake made. Barca 2-0 down against AS Monaco in the Gamper.
To the naked eye, in live time, it did look like an offside. We'll get the benefit of replay. Maybe he wasn't offside. Let's see. Close enough.
Seems Balde was playing him on by a few centimetres.
It's a sweet pass from Minamino to slip Mbolo in. And honestly, Duncan, in a preseason game, I'm all right with not having to wait 3 minutes, 5 minutes at the monitors to figure out whether or not it was onside or not. Although we will be going to that semi-automated system soon, so in that sense, it's all right. But no, this is a sign for Barca right now. They have not been up to it, especially since the second half started, and with the amount of time that they'll have left in this game, the half hour or so, they'll have to pick it up.
So the goal does stand. It is Barca 0, AS Monaco 2. Is cut inside from Rafinha. First time we've really seen him in action in this second half. Roll back into the defence for AS Monaco. We have subs warming up. For Barca, it doesn't look as if too many players are going through the warm-up on the sidelines for the time being. And there's a push there on Marc Casado.
Well, if you're looking for that spark and a little injection of energy, Lamine Yamal coming into the game wouldn't be the worst idea.
Day. Valdez trotting forward on the left-hand side. Just makes himself available. He'll make his run now. So it's a ball into the centre. Doesn't quite reach Rafinha. AS Monaco on the break once more. That's coolly played back by Dominguez. The area, series of passes from AS Monaco on the perimeter of the box. Low strike.
In Barca's typical way of playing, as ter Stegen releases Gundogan, trying to play out of the back and putting out a fire immediately upon being having some pressure applied on them. It's failing them right now because there's inexperience back there in terms of playing with each other.
Gundogan to the right. They run to the box from Lewandowski. And Lewandowski just a little slow to make his run to the near post, a run he normally makes so well.
You know, Dominguez and Marc Bernal are players who have played together, but not with Ter Stegen, not with Inigo Martinez, not with Balde. So it's okay to make these mistakes in the preseason. Truly, there's no reason to get overly furious with what you're seeing. You know how people tend to overreact sometimes. Relax. It's okay. It's the preseason.
Now we're coming up to an hour played. Vanderson is going to take the throw-in.
I hear a large cheer.
That can only mean either they've spotted you, Spence, in the crowd,
right,
or Lamine Yamal is warming up. I would venture a guess that the teenager, the more popular figure, the Euro 2024 winner, he's been told to strip off because Hansi Flick is going to bring him on shortly.
And we have been waiting for this moment all summer. It'll sound even better when he comes on against Athletic Club for the first home game of the season here at Montjuic. But we like the looks of Lamine in Blaugrana as much as we enjoyed watching him for Spain.
Koundé just pauses over his pass and get the ball back at his feet. Balde. Plenty of movement from Barca. They have to be careful not to lose their heads in the aftermath of the second goal. The strategy needs to remain the same. All over the top, trying to find Rafinha, who doubled over to the right. And that strike takes a big deflection. It will go out. Barca will have a corner, and it looks like Rafinha is going to be the taker.
4 different players making their way up now, getting ready to check in. Alongside Lamine and Ferran, Hector Fort, Gerard Martin.
And the corner comes in, and that header wide. It looks as if it will go out for another corner. Again, Inigo Martinez was trying to rise high. Quadruple substitution will take place shortly, maybe on the next pause in play. So here comes the corner. This time around, it's Ilkay Gundogan who takes. Gundogan has a look. He's got no option to play short. As I said, plays it low along the ground, looks for the return. This could be an AS Monaco break. Instead, it's a foul committed by Gundogan. And with that, seems we're going to get the substitutions. Oh, Gundogan has been bloodied.
They were trying to set something up off of the training ground and
falls over. Maybe took a stud in the head there from the awkward tumble.
It didn't look like the cleat got him. It looked like an elbow.
Look, from that angle, it's just that arm swinging back, trying to get the run going, and a good one was already falling over the slippery surface. He has been bloodied. Might need to be patched up here. And there's going to be maybe a significant pause in play.
Well, the result notwithstanding, the thing that you cannot afford to see is the injury bug starting to rear its head. And none of these appear to be serious, and that we're thankful for, but Gundogan getting busted open, Lewandowski's wrist or arm put in jeopardy. These are the types of things that friendlies are not made for.
And the kind of players who are likely to feature from the start against Valencia as well. Now the quartet coming on that includes Lamine Yamal. Will be our first look at him at this pre-season. The break after he took Europe by storm in the European Championships in Germany.
And we've seen a lot of the youngsters, and it's easy to forget that Lamine Yamal is going to be playing football at the age of 17 this season. And he is still much younger than the rest of the youngsters that we've been enjoying this off-season, this preseason, including Pau Victor. Watching Lamine play alongside some of these players can be exciting too, because as good as he is at scoring world-class goals, like the one he scored in the semi-final of the Euros, he's equally as good at setting up his teammates.
Goodman still receiving treatment. Actually stretch it off. Put the buggy onto the field of play. That might add an extra substitution for Hansi Flick. Goodman sitting up at least. He was in considerable discomfort after catching that elbow just above the eye.
This will serve as somewhat of an extended hydration break for everybody. The concern is for Gundogan, which, again, it doesn't look like it's something that should be serious in any way, but you try telling that to somebody who just got his head busted open.
Gundogan escorted off the field of play. Might add an extra substitution, maybe 5 changes to be made by Barca, or they'll switch the player who's going to be taken off. So Gundogan is going to be withdrawn. Ferran Torres was always scheduled to come on. And Robert Lewandowski is also making way. Ferran Torres on in his stead. Will likely play as that central striker. Gerard Martin to come on. And of course Lamine Yamal, will hear a roar go up here. And he comes on to the pitch. Lamine Yamal, European Championships winner with Spain this summer.
So now he gets to play alongside Pau Victor, which is the first time we'll see these two doing that. Pau Victor in more of a central role now that Lewandowski departs.
So just a brief cameo for İlkay Gundogan with that cut just above his right eye, or alongside his right eye by the looks of things. Might require a couple of stitches. Out on the near side. And just under half an hour remaining here. A delayed start, a delayed return from the half-time break as well. And first touch, great touch that from Hector Fort, intercepted that beautifully. Lifted into the area. And is poked away by AS Monaco, who lead this game by 2 goals with no response from the Blaugrana.
Lamine is becoming known for that little dink pass over the top. It's one of his trademarks, calling cards, and again, he's only 17. He's got so much to learn and so much to improve on in this game, which is scary to think that he can improve. But that pass in particular is one we'll see a number of times this year. He's out on the right-hand flank, and all of a sudden, he just puts the perfect rainbow over the top, and it falls delicately to whoever is playing as the number 9.
Attempted to play that ball into the area, unsuccessfully. Lamine Yamal has won a throw-in high up the pitch. And spoke about young players who had a good summer. Hector Fort played an interesting role. You could see he and Balde both getting minutes. Hector Fort knocking on the door of regular first-team football. Barca trying to get to the edge of the area with Pau Victor. Pau Victor plays that to the right. They're looking for a shot here. Here's the opportunity. And it's very, very nearly a goal pulled back. Lifted up over the goalkeeper from an acute angle. Pau Victor won't quite find the target.
Boy, from our angle, that looked destined for the side netting. Another brilliant feed, and Pau Victor does the right thing. He goes for the chip. How far away was he? Maybe Kohn got the slightest fingertip to it.
Well, it's another warning, if it was needed, for AS Monaco that Barca will not take defeat lying down. They go on the attack again here. It's Gerard Martin. Protest from the AS Monaco players. We have a man down for Barca off another rough and ready challenge. And Torres complaining he was taken out illegally. He wants to show his war wounds as well to the referee.
Ooh, yeah. Just caught him right at the edge. And we haven't seen much of this in the preseason, just based on the flow that the games have taken. But set pieces, none today from this kind of position. And another chance for Rafinha to show off the type of service that we've seen from him. Just want to dink this just in front of that penalty spot. Slice it in and allow someone to get on the other end of it.
Rafinha looks as if he's going to put this into the danger zone. It's a decent delivery. It drops behind. It will be a goal kick. Ferran Torres still walking wounded.
Right idea. Ferran certainly onside, and he just got too much of it. That's a lot to ask, though, to have him put that into the back of the net. He's trying to flick that on to let somebody else finish the job.
Great ter Stegen just gives the instruction to Inigo Martinez to come and collect that.
But it's no surprise, Duncan, that since Lamine and the rest of the subs, has to be said as well, have come on, that this team looks re-energized and ready to seek out at least one to bring this thing back within striking distance.
To the right. Trying to nick the ball away, and they do so in the danger zone. Low shot, little to test the goalkeeper Kohn, but it's the first strike for Lamine Yamal since coming on.
And he does the hard work. He wins the ball back, and he says, I deserve this one. And we've seen him curl that one into either end.
Entitled to the shot. Lamine Yamal attempting to keep that down. It just strolled along the ground. Made little problem for Kohn, the Swiss goalkeeper. Now Gerard Martin. Martinez. Looking on a turn. And Ferran Torres, he was trying to keep up the pace of that move. As we're about to get some substitutions for AS Monaco. Caio Henrique, one of the players to come on. Gerard Martin inside. Panics defending there. Barca attempt to capitalise, but also get the new signing, the French national, but born in Nigeria, Elena Kena. Another of the new signings. Youngster, still just 17 years old to come on. There's plenty of AS Monaco fans excited about him in Enikena.
We'll wait on that first. Allow these players to get hydrated one more time. Can't have enough of that today, to be honest.
So instructions again to be given by Hansi Flick. He strolls out of the dugout to go across to the players.
So if we're thinking about Valencia now, we begin to paint a picture in our minds of what Hansi Flick's 11 is going to look like. And I still don't think we have the perfect puzzle completed yet. But if you're thinking 4-2-3-1, then the biggest question comes with, what are you doing with that 2 in the middle? Because at times, it's gone from a 4-2-3-1 to a more traditional 4-3-3 with that second pivot player, in this case Marc Casado, pushing up forward next to the other attacking midfielder. But of course, we haven't really factored in the idea that Fermin will likely be ready to go come Saturday.
So during that cooling break, some multitasking going on from the fourth official. He's signalled some substitutions. That includes Iñaki Peña coming on for Barca, taking Marc-Andre ter Stegen's spot between the sticks. Has combined this pre-season for a couple of hours or so. And Iñaki Peña has had that spell towards the end of last season when Marc-Andre ter Stegen was injured. Actually, that taste of first-team football on a consistent basis. So we did get those 2 substitutions from AS Monaco. Nikena and Kyle Henrique introduced for maybe around about the final 20 minutes of the contest, which Barca trail, of course, 2-0. AS Monaco, the visitors here in the latest edition of the Gamper. Right, quarter hour to go. Inigo Martinez on the ball. Dominguez outside to the right. Yamal. And just sharp intake of breath from the fans. Whenever Lamine Yamal gets hold of the ball, they've got the feeling he's going to do something special. Thus far, he's had a couple of electric moments since coming on. And he's trying to take the game by the scruff of the neck. Gerard Martin tries the ball into the centre. Finally does arrive there to Rafinha. Shot ball to Inigo Martins. We've got more subs warming up for AS Monaco. Whether they'll come in or not is another question. And a wayward pass on the turn, trying to find the run-up field from Gerard Martin.
You can see he's trying to create, Casado. He wants to push the ball forward, and credit to Monaco right now, they're not allowing that to happen. And it's not a bad thing to have to practice this moment when you're down by a goal or 2 and you're looking for a way into a game where most of your ideas have fallen on empty shoulders. Pau Victor had 2 chances in this game, one in the first half, one in the second.
Here's Inigo Martinez. Across to the right.
There you go, good switch.
It's come to Gerard Martin, and finally he's got a little bit of time to pick out his pass. He decided to hurry it to try and find his teammates in the middle. They're defending with everything they have, AS Monaco at times.
It's an awkward landing for Inigo. Good to see him right back to his feet.
Gerard Martin again is calling for the ball on the left. Trying to oblige was Dominguez, but it was always going to be an ambitious ball.
I think Barca need to try to probe on the right now. They've got a lot of talent out there that also brings diversity, because Hector Fort, we saw the couple of crosses that he put in. He could do it with the outside of his boot if he needs to, as Monaco prepare 3 more changes.
So more switches afoot. Diop to come on, Matasso as well. And the final substitutions being made just to give some players a run out here at the Olympic Stadium. So Barca will stay put for the time being. Lots of changes made in the second half without really breaking up the momentum for Barca. It just hasn't happened for them in front of goal.
Yeah, and that will come. And more importantly, for the fans, they're going to want to celebrate a goal sooner rather than later. Hopefully they don't have to wait until the Athletic Club game to get that chance here at home. But like any good preseason game, there have been things that you see that look like signs of improvement and plenty to work on.
Gerard Martin. Collected on the halfway line by Inigo Martinez. There's the change of wing. Hector Fort has gone on the overlap as Lamine Yamal tracks back. Almost caught in possession there. Gerard Martin, we've seen him mostly in the opposition half since he was introduced. Well won back here.
Nicely done by Casado.
And it's looking like it's going to be another 90 minutes for Casado. He played the full 90 in the game against AC Milan.
Based on the number of injuries that Barca have in the midfield, specifically the Gavi, Pedri, Frankie situation, wouldn't surprise me to see him getting a good chunk of minutes at the beginning of this season.
He's on the ball. He was trying to return the pass to Ferran Torres. Ferran Torres will be hoping to feature in some capacity against Valencia. No love lost there from the Valencia fans. They left them to join Manchester City before making the move to Football Club Barcelona.
Well, and Hansi Flick comes in to this situation without any bias anywhere. So if he likes what he sees, he's going to give you the chance.
AS Monaco think twice about the ball forward. That almost gave Lamine Yamal the opportunity to thread a ball through. Lots of changes made in this second half. We've got a player down injured.
Looks like Zakaria just came down awkwardly.
He's down holding his hamstring.
Barca in danger of losing their first Gamper in 12 years. It's been 11 straight for them. Last time that they lost a Gamper came to an Italian side, Sampdoria, 2012.
Looks like maybe a spot of cramp. It seems to smart. The referee just trying to hurry things along.
Well, again, not that we're playing for anything beyond mostly pride tonight, but we should get a chunk of added time in the second half with the Gundogan injury. And then, of course, a hydration break. We've had a few other players go down, several substitutions. 6 or 7 minutes would be in the cards, you would think.
Zakaria, he withdraws the captain's armband, hands it off, and he is going to go off. Looks like there's a substitute lined up for him.
Not what you'd like to see for Monaco. You do hope he's all right. You actually almost hope that he's milking it a little bit.
So for the time being, AS Monaco will be down to 10 men. Down the line, it's going to be chased after. Zakaria begins to receive treatment, and Yaki Peña gets back onto his line. There's Monaco. Well, they sell a dummy there. Uplifted over. It's the cavalry arriving inside the area. And there's goal number 3 for AS Monaco. All alone on the edge of the 6-yard box. It is a goal scored by the visitors, again, against the run of play. And it looks like it's Moisa who's finished that off. Christian Moisa, the number 13. Good finish from him. It was when Monaco were down to 10 men and they'd just broken away. It looks as if there's too much danger on the initial ball that was sent in.
Well, the credit comes from the play from the guy that we thought was going to start the game. That was a really nice little stop and stare, and then I thought this had to be taken first time, but give Moisa credit. He brings it down to his favored left and just curls it calmly past Peña. And Yaki beaten, and, well, maybe this one isn't going Barca's way tonight.
Matasso has come on in the aftermath of that to replace Balogun. Barca are going to make changes as well by the looks of things. Rafinha to come off. Pau Victor as well. Double change just before the end here. As Barca trail by 3-0 in the Gamba Trophy game. Go way back before they find a time where they had such an adverse scoreline in the Gamper. This has been a game for many purposes, not predominantly the result. It's been about blooding the youngsters, getting some players back into the swing of things. And there we see Tony Fernandez, who comes on, one of the heroes of the penalty shootout.
Now, Duncan, we can say that this game has devolved a bit into what we're used to seeing in the final 15 minutes of a friendly.
Taken out of play by AS Monaco. Hugo Martinez, it's going to be a full 90 for him, by the looks of things.
People are going to look at this game, they'll look at the final result and formulate their own opinions. And I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I really need to stress, don't panic. It is the preseason. Even if this was the first game of the year and it counted, I would say the same thing.
And towards the halfway line. And it's another one over the top of the Barca defence. And Yaki Peña again scrambling back to get into his 6-yard box. Yes, Monaco attack continues, but the presence of Barca players enough just to slow down the team from the French Principality.
Well, Bouabre, number 42, who had the stop and stare to set up that goal, has looked like a bright spark for Monaco here in the second half.
We're going to go into stoppage time in just a few moments. The fourth official will signal how much will be added on.
But we remember how it went last year, 0-0 against Getafe to start the season. Hold on.
Ball threaded through, taken away before it could reach the incoming Barca attackers. There were 3 or 4 players who are preparing to make their move into the opposition area.
The year prior to that, it started 0-0 against Rayo, and everybody freaked out, and we all know how that season ended. I don't even remember the first result the year before when Koeman started, but we know that the first 9 games didn't go great, so no need to panic.
We'll have an additional 7 minutes in this one. For the various forces in play. Some of the fans beginning to file out here at the Olympic Stadium. That long walk downhill. Fernandez has to play that through. It's come back to him. Fernandez breaks. Left-footed strike. It goes behind. Just ran out of room there as he made the move into the area.
And that's what we've wanted to see from Kim Junyen this entire preseason. He hasn't had the chance to stretch his legs quite so much. Small in stature, large in life. And the only thing he missed was the finish. But this is what these extra 7 minutes are for.
With that, as a signal for more substitutions for AS Monaco. Make another double change before the end. Kim Junyen, he has featured in several games in pre-season. It's been largely anonymous showings for him. Imagine he would be back with Barca Athletic, featuring perhaps almost exclusively for them this season. Here come the next few changes for AS Monaco. Take off Jacobs. So rotating, like almost everybody has come off AS Monaco. Complete reshuffle from Edelhutter.
For Barca going 90 minutes, it's, as you said, Casado and Inigo, and I think that's it, right?
Even a change of goalkeeper with around about 25 minutes to go with the introduction of Iñaki Peña. That's left. Here's Ferran Torres. Swerves over to the right. Arsenal looking at least to get a consolation goal before the end. And another run towards the edge of the area. It looked as if it was Lamine Yamal who was tripped up there. A strong challenge that elicits a yellow card from the referee.
Haven't seen too many of those today. In fact, I think that's the first one.
I've seen a couple of rough and ready challenges, maybe without the yellow.
Oh, you can't do that to Lamine. Not today.
A free kick from maybe just beyond shooting distance, but perhaps Lamine Yamal will have a look at this. Tries to play this low underneath the wall. Strike on the turn, had nowhere to go for Ferran Torres. Follow-up continues. Lamine Yamal goes down in the box. Nothing given by the referee.
Well, Here's a decent example, Duncan, of something that we talk about, what we'd like to see, what we'd like to see improved. I wouldn't mind seeing Lamine have a crack with his right foot every now and then.
Now Victor to the left. One of those two players who, maybe three players who will feature until the end. Comes on the corner in. Just a couple more minutes of stoppage time to come. Ferran Torres' low delivery. Comes back out. There's a challenge off the ball.
Oh!
Bit of a naughty shoulder charge there.
I mean, I guess. Casado was beaten for pace that time for sure.
Wasn't about to let his man get past him, Marc Casado. You'd imagine on a La Liga weekend would be a yellow card for him.
He probably would have been double booked at this point today.
Good throw.
Well, it's good to see that the fans have been able to come out, shaking off the cobwebs of the seats at the Estadi Olímpic Lluís Companys. And once we get back to Saturday, Duncan, the season starts. We all watch with a more intent focus.
Sliced into the middle. Selection here by AS Monaco, outskirts of the area. Left. No early delivery. Might not even be time for the cross in. The referee just had a quick check of his watch. Now breakaway, maybe one last roll of the dice for Barca to get a consolation goal. Here and there. Traditional season opener. It's going to be the first time in 12 years that they lose the camper. A rare pre-season defeat for them as well. Throw to Inigo Martinez. Game over here at the Olympic Stadium. Barca lose the camper by 3-0 against AS Monaco. They will spend the rest of the week preparing for that game on Saturday against Valencia when the Liga gets started. This one has ended. Barca 0, AS Monaco 3. Well, we are going to see the handing over of the trophy, the presentation here. Barca would have liked to have collected it themselves. They will get the runners-up medals here as AS Monaco become the first side in over a decade to lift the Gamper trophy.
Yeah, you never like to see a trophy handed out on your home turf when it's not you, but sometimes that's just the way it goes. Credit to Monaco, we have to say. In a preseason game, they came to play, and they played really, really well. And I think anybody who watched this game, regardless of who they were a fan of, Barca, Monaco, it doesn't really matter. I think you look at Monaco and you say that's a team that can compete in their league and potentially even the Champions League this season. As for Barca, this is merely a blip on the radar, and we still haven't seen this team under Hansi Flick play with everybody that he wants to put in at one time. It's been a little bit staggered. So once we get to Saturday, Fermin comes back. We still wait for some of the injured players later in the season to come back. We are in for a wonderful 24-25, that's for sure.
So it starts with a game against Valencia, then Athletic Club, the next team to visit the Olympic Stadium. Barca then travel to the capital to take on Rayo Vallecano. They return here to play newly promoted Real Valladolid at the end of the month. That's how August is shaping up for Barca. We'll, of course, be following all of their exploits here on Barca 1. This one was not to be for the Blaugrana. All 3 goals coming in the second half.
Not to mention that guy. We haven't mentioned Dani Olmo in a while. He was presented in... Yeah, I think we're onto something here. That's another player in the midfield that is likely to make a big impact.
Plenty of talent in the stands as well. Pedri, Eric Garcia, Dani Olmo. Gavi, of course, is still on the comeback trail. I have to remember last season was pretty much the entirety of the second half of the season was without Gavi. He's really become such an important player for the Blaugrana. So we will get this trophy presentation. And we might have some runners-up medals as well. It's rather glum-looking Marc-Andre ter Stegen watching on.
Yeah, make no mistake, I've probably beat it into the ground a bit too much today by saying, relax, it's fine, it's not a big deal. These players are not happy. That we should all understand. There's a lot of tape that these players are going to go back and look at and say, we should have done this better, we should have done that better, we should have been in a better position here, we could have capitalized on this moment, and they'll do that. That's also what the preseason is for, is going back and looking at the tape and correcting those mistakes for the season to start. So you can see the looks on their faces are not that of joy and relief. It's that, okay, we've still got a lot to work on, and that, again, that's what the preseason's for.
Well, we see Robert Lewandowski and Marc-Andre ter Stegen. They will be massive players this season for Barcelona, not just in terms of their footballing quality, but in terms of their transmitting the ideas that Hansi Flick has. And back out AS Monaco to receive the Joan Camper trophy. So some silverware to take back to the French Principality. Are presented with the Man of the Match award. Paul Victor.
Does he get to keep that? Wow, that's a big star. Looks heavy.
Well, he accepts it somewhat reluctantly, perhaps. Paul Victor doesn't really crack a smile across his face, and we're going to have the presentation of the trophy itself. Marc-Andre ter Stegen in that captaincy role now at Barca. He's actually one of the more experienced players. Still fairly young, though, just past 30 years of age, Marc-Andre ter Stegen. But looks like he's going to be presented with the runners-up trophy.
Well, I guess you've got to be a runner-up if there are only 2 teams in the competition, but again, not one that they're going to really remember a whole lot.
And with that, AS Monaco will be presented with the trophy as the winners of this year's edition of the Gamper. Too many away fans made the trip for this one. That away section being emptied out just about now. Zakaria, one of the new signings, one of his first tasks since coming in for Monaco is to accept the trophy. AS Monaco winners of the Gamper for 2024-2025. just a few days to go for Barca before La Liga gets underway. They take on Valencia on the opening day of the season. A schedule that sees them take on Athletic Club here at the Olympic Stadium, Rayo Vallecano away, and Real Valladolid before the end of the month. This edition of the Gamper has ended in defeat for Hansi Flick's men. The final score, Barca 0, AS Monaco 3.
Hello. Okay.